Blessed Shabbat, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans the West, to the four corners of the earth scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson, we're going to tackle this relationship and food. Relationship and food, brothers and sisters. We're going to take this reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. You see that, brothers and sisters? You know what I mean? The scriptures value marriage, not boyfriend and girlfriend, marriage. Right, brothers and sisters? Because with marriage comes stability and responsibility and the building of communities, brothers and sisters. You understand? It's a beautiful thing when a man and woman come together in the name of Yahushua Mashiach and establish a relationship upon the rock of salvation. That marriage will last, brothers and sisters. This is what Yasharel, descendants of Hebrew slaves, are lacking. Right? They lack that ingredient, that glue that's supposed to keep us together, supposed to hold us together. And that's the Mashiach. Right? The wife, verse 4, the wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband had not power over his own body, but the wife. You see that, brothers and sisters? Alright, brothers and sisters, so let's look at what the scripture is saying. The husband has power over the wife, and the wife has power over the husband, right? Let's go back and read that scripture again. Alright, brothers and sisters. Alright. 1 Corinthians 4. The wife hath not power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband had not power over his own body, but the wife. So let's look at what that means, brothers and sisters. Right? Let's look what that means. Alright. The wife hath not power over her own body to refrain the use of it from her husband, or to prostitute it to another man. But the husband, he has the sole power over it, and may require when he pleases the use of it. And likewise also the husband has not power over his own body to withhold due benevolence or the conjugal debt from his wife, or abuse it by self-pollution, fornication, adultery, sodomy, or any acts of uncleanness. But the wife, she only has a power over it, a right to it, and may claim the use of it. This power over each other's body is not such as that they may, by consent, either the husband allow the wife, or the wife the husband to lie with another. Right, brothers and sisters? Right? So this is what it means. Okay? Let's continue. Verse 5. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that he may give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Hashatan tempt you not for your incontinency. Right? Right, brothers and sisters? Incontinency. That means what Paul is saying is that for a time, you know what I mean, you might decide you want to fast unto the Most High, and during those fasts, maybe a 3-day fast or a week fast, during that time you refrain from sexual intercourse with your husband, you know what I mean, for the wife, or with the wife from the husband, right? For that period of time, you're fasting, you're praying, and you know what I mean, you're devoting your time to the Most High. But then right after that, brothers and sisters, the husband and wife must come together, because Hashatan will come in between and divide you through the sexual intercourse. You know what I mean? The absence of it. You see what I mean? So it's very important, brothers and sisters, to not abuse such a thing. You know what I mean? Right? Verse 6. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment, for I would that all men were even as I myself. So what Paul is saying right here, you know what I mean? I'd rather be single. You know what I mean? He'd rather you be single, right? But every man had his proper gift. And it's also saying right here too that, you know what I mean, in order to avoid these 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 uh these what you call it, not temptation but the guiles and the and the lure of breaking the commandments such as fornication and such like that. You understand? It's better to stay by yourself, brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Until the Most High bless you with that gift, like it says right here, right? But I speak this by permission and not of commandment, for I would that all men were even as I. You know, he meaning being single. But every man had his proper gift. So in other words, it's also saying that every man has his gift from the Most High, which is being in a marriage. You know, I mean, a healthy, upright, righteous marriage, right? One another, one after this manner, but another that after that, right? For I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man hath his proper gift of Elohim, one after this manner and another after that, right? Verse 8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. See, there you go again. You see there again, Paul repeats again, brothers and sisters. Paul repeats again, right? I say therefore to the unmarried and widow, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn. So he's saying that it's better if you cannot control the flesh, because the flesh and the spirit is always fighting. If you cannot control the flesh, brother and sister, it's best to get married so you won't burn in lust, burn in temptation. You understand, brothers and sisters? That's what it means. Uh, Verse 10. And unto the married I command ye not, I but Yahuwah, let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. But to the rest speak I, not Yahuwah, if any brother had a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which had an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but nor are they holy. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases. But Elohim had called us to peace. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband, or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? But as Eliakim has distributed to every man, as Yahuwah had called every one, so let him walk, and so ordain I in all bodies. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of Eliakim. See that? Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Art thou called being a servant, care not for it, but if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. But he that is called to Yahweh, he that is called in Yahweh, being a servant, is Yahweh's free man. Likewise, also he that is called being free is Mashiach's servant. Ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servant of men. Brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide in with Elohim. Right, brothers and sisters? Brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with Elohim. Right? Now concerning virgins, I have no commandments of Yahweh, yet I give my judgment as one that had obtained mercy of Yahweh to be faithful. I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good for man so to be. Art thou bound unto a wife, seek not to be loose. Art thou loose from a wife, seek not a wife. And but and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she had not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoiced not, and they that buy as though they possessed not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, nor the fashion of this world passeth away. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to Yahuwah, how he may please Yahuwah. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. So I see Paul is making a comparison, right? Right, brothers and sisters. So Paul is making the comparison. You see, he said in verse 31, right? And they that use this word are not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belongeth unto Yahuwah. You see that? So you're single and unmarried, and if you're an upright person that fear the Most High and keep His command, you focus on the things of the Most High that pleases the Most High. Right? That's what he's saying. And come down here to verse 33. He said, but he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. See that? There is difference. There is difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of Yahuwah. Right? So coming down in 34 is describing a virtuous woman. Right? There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of Yahuwah, that she may be holy, both in body and in spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. See that? And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast snare upon you, but for that which is commonly, and that he may attend upon Yahuwah without distraction. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncommonly towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will. He sinneth not, and let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but had power over his own will, and that so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doeth well. So then he that giveth her in marriage doeth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doth better. See that? The wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth, but if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in Yahuwah. In today's society, they do not value marriage. This Western society across the earth, they do not value marriage, right? They do not value the head of the household. You understand? They involve in all type of, sexual deviances. You see what I mean? And the lust of the flesh, the walking of the flesh, brothers and sisters. You see what I mean? Everybody in the singleness of their mind, selfishness of their mind, you know. And we in a sad state, brothers and sisters. Very sad state. Right? Verse 40. But she is happier if she so abide after my judgment, and I think also that I have the spirit of Elohim. Alright, brothers and sisters, you know, Paul give us an outline of relationship, right? And relationship with the Most High, with the married and the unmarried. You understand? The unmarried person, you know what I mean, should tread in the way of Paul, you know what I mean? And the time you're not with a wife, you must devote that time unto the Most High, Yahuwah, in Yahusha Mashiach name, brothers and sisters, Yashrael. You understand? It's time for us to come together as one. You see what I mean? Because without each other, we're going to fail. But at the same time, brothers and sisters, the Most High have a remnant of his people that keep his laws, commandments, and statutes. So he doesn't need a million of you if you continue in your wickedness and the lust of this world and trying to be the friends of this world and be the friends of the enemy that oppress you. You know what I mean? The Arab slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade, brothers and sisters. You understand? We must come out of this mindset, you see what I mean, of hatred of self and towards each other. You see what I mean? And this mindset, that's the materialistic mindset. Because that's not doing nobody nothing. Because I'm telling you, one day this material thing is going to be destroyed, and then what you're going to have, brothers and sisters? Look into yourself, what you're going to have when all of this be destroyed. It's going to still be you and your man. Husband and wife is still going to leave both of you. Huh? Can't you see that? You're worrying yourself about material thing is only temporary. But the love between a man and woman lasts forever. You understand? That's the beauty of it, especially if the union is in the Mashiach, where both of you are even yoke, both of you have the zeal of the Most High, both of you want to keep the commandments of the Most High and live a righteous and upright life. Right? But that's a stigma today in this society. A society of lustfulness, a degenerate society. You understand? You know? Yashrael, wake up. Wake up, Yashrael. United we stand, divided we fall. Brothers and sisters, so 1 Corinthians 11:11. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. So let's look at that and look at that and see what it means, brothers and sisters. All right, brothers and sisters. So let's look at what Corinthians 11:11 mean, right? This verse have describes subtle differences between men and women that in part results in different application of spiritual principles for both. In this exact context, that means separate approaches to having their heads covered during worship service. It's critical to realize that Paul has not taught that women are inferior to men, both in this letter and elsewhere. He extols the value and spiritual equality of women. 1 Corinthians 7:4, Galatians 3:28. Galatians 3:28. In fact, many women in Corinth came to the body on their own without their husband. 1 Corinthians 7:13. Early Mashiachs drew in many women because of the clear teaching that Elohim welcomed everyone without regard to gender who received his grace by faith in Yahusha. Paul emphasizes here again that women and men are dependent on each other in Yahuwah. See that? Neither gender is self-existent, Mashiach rejects the independence of both men and women from each other, insisting that both need the other and both need Yahuwah. Neither gender is inferior and neither is dispensable. In the following verse, Paul will demonstrate that his instructions on head coverings, 1 Corinthians 11:3-10, are not grounded in female inferiority. Right? 1 Corinthians 11:2-16 describes Paul's correction of an inappropriate practice of some women in the Corinthian body. Contrary to social norms of that era, they were not wearing head covering when praying or prophesying before the body. Paul insists that both men and women consider that their chosen appearance implies about their relationship with Eliakim. Cultural details may vary, but the principle does not. Mashiach's men and women ought to be respectable in their manners and dress. In parallel, this teaching also touches on the concept of spiritual leadership. Paul confronts two issues in the church, in the body in Corinth, was failing to practice correctly. First, some women were not wearing head covering while praying or prophesying in their meetings. Paul insists they must do so, and that men must not, based on mankind's relationship to Eliakim and the social implication of that covering. Second, Paul describes the reason for observing Yahuwah's Supper and how it should be done. The Corinthian Mashiachs had brought Eliakim judgment on themselves to practicing communion in a way which dishonored Mashiach, right? Which dishonored Yahusha, sacrificed for sins, and humiliated the poor among them. Right, brothers and sisters? So, you know, this is just a breakdown of Corinthians 11:11. Right? Alright? Let's go to 1 Corinthians 8. Right? This chapter is talking about food. Right? Now, as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we know that we all have knowledge puffeth up, but charity edify. And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet he ought to know. But if any man love Eliakim, the same is known of him, as concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols. We know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other Elohim but one. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one Elohim, the Father of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Adonai, Yahusha HaMashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as thing offered unto idols, and their conscience being weak in defile. Right? Weak is defiled, but meat commanded us not to Elohim. Right? But meat commendeth us not to Elohim, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worst. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. For if any man see these, but if any man see thee which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be embroiled to eat those things which are offered to idols? And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Mashiach died? Hmm? You see that? And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Mashiach died. Hmm? But when he sinned so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, he sinned against Mashiach. Wherefore, if me make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Right? Let's look at what it's talking about, brothers and sisters. What is an example of food sacrificed to idols eaten, right, in the West? Right? Any food labeled halal, which means it has been sacrificed to Allah or Islam. To make halal meat, for example, the animal is made to face towards Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Right? Saudi Arabia is Esau's lot. Esau is not the white man, brothers and sisters. Esau is Jacob's brother. Right? Right, brothers and sisters? Let's go with this again. What is an example of food sacrificed unto idols eaten in the West? Any food labeled halal, which means it has been sacrificed to Allah or Islam. To make halal meat, for example, the animal is made to face towards Mecca in Saudi Arabia, and its throat is slit after Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, which means Allah is great, is declared over it, right? Yahusha is among those over whom Islam, Allah is being declared greater. Right? Right. Food sacrifice to idols is really sacrifice to whom? To demons. What I'm saying then, that an idol is anything, or what is offered to idols is anything. Rather that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to Elohim. And I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. You cannot drink the cup of Yahuwah and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of Yahuwah's table and the table of demons. Right? 1 Corinthians 10, 19, 21. Right, brothers and sisters? Does the Bible tell us to ask if a food item has been sacrificed to idols? No. But if that information is volunteered to not eat it, right? But if that information is volunteered to not eat it, eat whatever is sold in the meat market, asking no question for conscience sake. For the earth is Yahweh's and all its fullness. If any of those who do not believe invites you to dinner and you desire to go, eat whatever is set before you, asking no question for conscience sake. But if anyone says to you, this was offered to idols, do not eat it, for the sake of the one who told you. But if anyone say to you, this was offered to idols, do not eat it, for the sake of the one who told you, and for the conscience sake, for the earth is Yahweh's and all its fullness. 1 Corinthians 10, 25 to 28. And halal label volunteers that information also, brothers and sisters. So if you see that on their labels, do not eat it. Right? So I hope you understand and understood this Shabbat lesson, brothers and sisters. And I encourage you, Hebrew Yashala, descendant of Hebrew slaves, to come back to the Most High and keep his laws, commandments, and statutes, brothers and sisters. And I hope you take away from this lesson good things to imply into your lives and into your relationship. So this is a blueprint, brothers and sisters, for a relationship between the black man and the black woman. If you so choose to walk in the spirit of the Most High Yahuwah, in Yahushua Mashiach's name. You understand? Because this is the ingredient that is missing in and among and around Yahshua, brothers and sisters. We need to come back to these laws, commandments, and statutes so we could break the chain of ignorance, brothers and sisters, and stupidity and abominable ways. Okay, brothers and sisters? Shalom.